when you went from building like one component at a time to building kind of entire features with Cloud, what started changing in your approach? What did you notice would break, and what did you have to go back and kind of fix again and again?
Yeah, it's the great example of this is going to be diving into the code itself. One of the big things we see here and why I like this code is that it's separating concerns out. So we see that there's a constant variable called vote controls here. Then we see another one for answer section. And this block is what, 15 lines of code. This is probably just south of 30 lines of code. This little component is under 20 lines of code right here. That's number three. We see number four right here, which is about 30 lines of code right here. So now that's four components. And then we see a constant variable, which is a piece of data that's going to be hydrating the view itself. And I really like the structure that's inside of here. This data structure works. This data structure also has a lot of things out of the box, which is how this would be written. So gives me really strong confidence that I can just grab this and then I would probably take this and I would drop it into Bolt. I would drop it into V0 or I would drop it into Replit and have that continue the job after this. And so really my AI augmented workflow starts in Claude where I'm just thinking about my users. I'm thinking about my taste palette and I'm just educating myself and I'm questioning myself and I'm trying different things. And then once I see something and I'm like, ooh, this feels yummy, I'm going to grab good code, which I get from this prompt template, which again, I'll share. And I'll just throw that over to V0 and I'll throw it over the wall. And then something amazing is going to come out on the other side. And then if I was to take a look, compare that to this other component where I have, 200 lines of code inside of one component, which is totally fine because 200 lines of code, like I have enough experience. I know just how to read it. Um, and data structure is totally fine inside of here, but then this is where things get hairy. This is application logic. And this is one of the big reasons why I don't like React. And one of the reasons I don't like React is that take a look. This is a lot of control flow. Every application is really just two things. Does not matter the programming language, doesn't matter if it's an app on your phone, app on the computer, or an app, in the terminal, like the shell commands. Every app has two things. There's data and there's behavior. For data, we have data structures. So this is how we structure data so that I can easily work with it to find it or to update it. Number two is, all right, I have data, but now how do there's something called a control structure. Can I loop over the data and make a table? So we're looping over a list multiple times, we're mapping over it, and then boom, we have this code. So that's control flow. Or this is a filter. So it's going to say, oh, if it is full time, if it is remote only, if it is a combination of these things, then I'm going to show it. That's conditional logic. And so in our control structures, we have very complex if statements. And that's one of the things that really bothers me because then I'm like, down the line, when I go to keep editing this, I know very likely a bug is going to pop up here. And I'm like, why would I want to deal with that? And so usually what I'll do is once I have something good in React, I'll convert it over to Vue, which can manage state a lot better, which also um, doesn't have much configuration either. Like a lot of things are configured really well out of the box. One of the things right now is that every app you're making is going to be it's going to use shadcn for the component library, which like it's a component library made for JavaScript. It's going to use React. It's going to use TypeScript, and then it's going to use Tailwind for styling. Now, one of the big issues there is stringing the application up later on. A lot of things are going to break downstream, especially with TypeScript. Like a lot of things are just going to kind of break With Vue and Vite, I know that none of that stuff is ever going to break. So the issue with the Vue ecosystem is just getting to something good like this on the first try. But very few people know that you can bring all your React components into Vue. So essentially, I'm going to get great design nearly for free, maybe 20 bucks a month, because that's what I pay for Claude Pro. And then I will then, for the downstream of like getting this into the hands of customers and doing that in a matter of 5, 10 minutes rather than a couple hours, couple days, couple weeks, I'll use the Vue ecosystem for that. And that's one of my big secrets.
This is incredible, man. I know a lot of people are waiting on looking at that prompt and getting access to that